this is Mr. T with another sheet metal ductwork fabrication project. Today we're going to make a plenum. So a plenum is the first piece of duct that's going to attach to our furnace or air handling system. There's a bunch of different ways to make it. Depending on the size we need our plenum and the size of our stock and equipment, we could make it 4 pieces where each side would be a separate piece with a cap. We could make it 2 pieces, or excuse me, 3 pieces. A piece to do 2 sides, a piece to do the other 2 sides of the cap. Today we're going to show you 5 pieces. So it's going to be, all 4 sides are going to be separate piece with a cap. And we're going to do a slip style cap. So we've done our calculations. And we've come up with that our plenum is going to be 10 by 10, 11 inches tall. Okay. So during our cut sizes, if we need it to be 11 inches tall, we have to add whatever flange is going to attach to our heating system or cooling system, whether it's a furnace, air handler, whatever the case might be. So we're going to do a 1-inch flange. Okay, so 11 inches of height plus our flange gives us 12. We're making it 10 by 10 square for demonstration purposes. So on 2 pieces, we have to add our Pittsburgh rock, which our Pittsburgh rock is a 1-inch allowance. So we take our 10 inches wide, add our 2-inch allowance for Pittsburgh, we end up with 12. For the other 2 pieces, same length, but the width, we only have to add 1/4 and 1/4 for our return flanges for our Pittsburgh rock. So that cut size would be 12 by 10.5. The cap we'll discuss a little bit more later. So we have all our pieces cut. We have 2 pieces 12 by 12, 2 pieces 12 by 10.5. So we're going to start with the 12 by 12. So basically on 3 sides, I'm going to do 1-inch dimension. So on 2 sides is for my Pittsburgh, on the 3rd side is for my flange. I'm going to add a 1/2 inch or do a 1/2 inch dimension on the top, which will be where my cap is going to sit. So again, 3 sides at 1 inch, and the top, 1/2 inch. So that is 2 of my 4 pieces. So now to do the return side, again I'm going to have 1 inch on the bottom for my flange, but I'm only going to have 1/4 inch on each side. These are my return flanges that will go into my Pittsburgh rock. I'm also going to have that same 1/2 inch allowance on the top for my cap. And we'll do the same thing for the other piece. So for demonstration purposes, I'm going to draw them. In the trade, we would just cut them out. So on all my intersections, I'm going to do 15-degree angles. I'm going to create 15-degree angles at all my intersections. Except on the flange. The flange I'm going to leave square. But all the rest, I'm going to do 15 degrees. So I'm going to show you how to do it with a protractor. Again, if in the trade, if we're in the field, we would just cut these angles with our snips to about 15 to 30 degrees. But for demonstration purposes, I'm going to draw them out with Sharpie so we can see them better. So I have my 15-degree angles, top and bottom, on both sides. And I would do the same thing. I would do the same thing on my pieces that are going to have the Pittsburgh lock. So again, same thing. I have my 15-degree. On the bottom, I would have my 15-degree, my square cut for my flange. So now I can just cut all those notches up. Again, square cut on the flange, angle cut on my Pittsburgh lock or my Pittsburgh lock return flange. So I have my two pieces done, then I'm going to get my Pittsburgh locks. Now I just have to do my two sides that are my returns. So basically on both sides, both ends I have the same thing. I have a square notch and an angled notch. Square notch for my flange, square notch for my top. Angled notches for what's going to be bent for a Pittsburgh lock. So the next step would be to cross break our pieces. I'm going to cross break, even though this is only a 10 by 10 by 11, which normally that you wouldn't make anything that small anyway, but I'm still going to cross break it to show that process. All right, so now we're at our break, and we're going to cross break our pieces before we finish the forming. So all we're going to do is go from one corner to the other and create a little bit of an indent. Cross breaking is going to add strength to our pieces, but it's also going to stop some of the vibration noises that will happen at our plenum. Again, I'm just going to put a little deflection into our pieces. Corner to corner, a little bit of a bend, add strength and rigidity to our pieces. And I'm just going to repeat that process on all my pieces. So now I've cross-broke all my pieces. We'll be back to the break after we form our Pittsburgh locks on. So next we are at the lock forming machine, and we're going to form our Pittsburgh locks on both sides of two of our side pieces. Again, I formed my Pittsburgh locks on both sides of both pieces. Now we'll go back to the break and finish our forming. So we're back at the break. On two of my side pieces, I just have to form the 1-inch flange. And it's going opposite my Pittsburgh lock, opposite my lines, or a down bend. Again, we're going 90 degrees. Do the same on my other piece. Now my other two pieces, I'm going to start with that same bend, that 1-inch down. But on those two pieces, I have to bend my 90-degree 1/4-inch bend. That's my return flange for my Pittsburgh lock. So bend my 1-inch down. So I bent that first so I can use the side of the brake, the pocket. I'll have to use both ends, but I can use that pocket now to put my 1/4-inch bend in to finish the pocket. $90. And again, I'm going to switch ends so I can utilize that brake, the pocket in the end side of the brake. So I have my 1-inch flange with my 2 1/4-inch Pittsburgh returns. Again, I'll just do the same thing for my other piece. So all my forming is done for the plenum body. Now it's time to assemble. So back to my workbench. I got my sheet metal hammer and seam setter if I need it. I'm going to assemble one side first. Make sure I line up my flanges. I do the same thing on my other piece. I'm going to put Pittsburgh lock one side, make sure I line up my flange. Flip it over. I'm going to use the side of the table to put my flange on so I don't mess up that bend on my flange. And I have that all assembled. We did our relief cut, our angled cut, so we don't bind up on the corners. So we would finish hammering over our Pittsburgh locks. Next we would make our cap. So we check our dimensions and we come up with 10 by 10. For our cap, I'm going to subtract an 1/8 inch. You could subtract up to a 1/4. I'm just going to subtract an 1/8, so I got 9 7/8. I'm going to have a 1/2 inch, a double 1/2 inch hem, so I got to add an inch to each side, so my cut size will be 11 7/8. Having already cut that piece out, we just have to mark our bend lines. So because I have up and down bends, I'm actually going to mark both sides. So again, I got to do my notching. Then it'd be about a 15 to 30 degree angle. I'm just going to use the snips, offset 3/8 of an inch or so, and cut to my inch section. That'll give me my desired angle. All 4 corners are marked, notched. Now I can do my bending. Again, I'm going to have the outside bends are going to be down, my inside bends are going to be up, so I actually create a pocket that's going to fit over my cap. Again, we're back at the break. I'm going to bend my 4 down bends first. These are an open pocket. We could use a bar folder or a cleat bender to bend these. I'm going to show you how to do it just using a brake. Now I want to squish this, but I don't want to squish it all the way. I want to leave it open so there is a pocket there. Now, I don't want to squish those bends, so I had the first sides, I had the main part of it in. These next couple, I'm going to have the main part out. But again, when I squish them, I don't want to squish all the way. So last I have to bend these sides up. I'm going to use the box and pan brake so I don't squish all my pockets. So we're just going to slide down to the box and pan brake. I have dies already set up to fit inside my dimensions, so I'm not going to squish that open properly. Bend up 90, and I'm just going to do that all four sides. So now I have my plenum cap all done. Could also be used as a duct end cap. Again, depending on the size, we would cross break. Last, I just have to assemble my cover. The cover sometimes can be the hard part. Usually 3 sides go on fairly easy. The 4th side, sometimes you need a flathead screwdriver or something like that to help you get that last corner in. I'm going to give my Pittsburgh a little flattening. Binding up on the corner a little bit, so we're just going to flatten that out a little bit. Got a question for you. Alright, so again, sometimes that 4th side, you need a screwdriver to help you pop that all on. Once we get it all in place, I can take and just bend over a couple of corners so it won't go anywhere. And then if this was a final assembly, we would be putting screws so that cover couldn't pop off. All our Pittsburgh lock would be bent over, but that's an example of a plenum. Again, plenums can be made a bunch of different ways. This is 4 pieces with a cap. We could make it 3 pieces that we make a side, the top, and the other side. With 2 caps, we could make it 3 pieces where we have 2 sides and 2 sides go together with a cap. All depends on the size of the plenum you need and your equipment. But one way to make a HVAC ductwork plenum.